are alone for a crowd.
Welcome to Season 2 of Red Sox Digest, the only show where pain, sarcasm, and false hope collide nightly, like a Masataka Yoshida ground out to second. We break down every loss, every meltdown, and the occasional win, with sarcasm, facts, and no front office spin. Subscribe today at RedSoxDigest.com or keep wondering how a wildcard team spent an entire offseason avoiding power hitters. And now, here's the crew at Red Sox Digest.
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Sox Digest. I am your host tonight, Jim Delfino. And I got to be honest, hosting this show right now feels like running a funeral, except the body keeps getting up every night just to die again in a slightly dumber way. At this point, I'm not even a host. I'm a grief counselor for Red Sox fans. Tell me where it hurt you tonight. Oh, the fifth inning? Yeah, that'll do it. Joining me tonight is Nick Face. Nick is so pissed off right now, he's probably yelling at his TV like it owes him money. This guy doesn't just hate losing, he takes it personally. Somewhere right now, he's tweeting in all caps, arguing with three Padres fans and some guy named Sox Optimist 42 who still thinks this team is close. Close to what, Nick? A complete mental breakdown? Joining me tonight as well as Thayer Doyle. Thayer's the fundamentals guy, which means tonight he's sitting there watching this team like a high school teacher whose class just ate glue. Guys, we talked about this. We don't blow 4-run leads. That's day one stuff. And finally joining us and rounding it out is John Martinello. John's going to come in with the analytics like, well, actually, if you remove the fifth inning, the eighth inning, and the ninth inning, Red Sox won this game. It's really the only way that this team can win right now. Let's just remove all the parts where they completely collapsed like a cheap lawn chair. Let's get into it. Your Boston Red Sox, who apparently specialize in emotional damage, blew a 4-0 lead and lost 8-6 to the Padres. And let me say this as clear as possible. This wasn't a loss. This was a slow-motion choke job. You come out here, you score 4 runs, you're feeling good, and then what happens? You just stop. Like someone unplugged the offense and the pitching at the same time. Top of the fifth, Manny Machado steps up and absolutely launches a 3-run home run like he's playing home run derby. And the Sox reaction? Nothing. No pushback, no fight, no, hey, maybe this is not a complete fall apart here. Just the same dead blank look like, yeah, here we go again. Because deep down, they know, you know, and I know, the second that ball left the bat, this game was over. Then, because this team loves to toy with you, they tie it in the 7th. Yoshida comes through, makes it 6-6, and for one stupid second, you think, all right, maybe this time they won't screw it up. Well, that's on you. That's your fault for believing, because immediately the Padres punched them right back in the mouth. Jackson Merrill hits a go-ahead home run in the 8th like he's casually ruining your Easter. And what do the Red Sox do? Same thing they always do. They fold, not bend, not fight, not compete, just fold. And then the 9th inning, where this is just becoming insulting. You're down 2 runs, game's still right there. And what do you get? Strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. Sit down, go home, thanks for coming, have some Easter pie. No grind, no pressure, no fight. Just 3 guys walking up there like they've already mentally checked out. Let's call this what it is. This team is soft. They're mentally soft. They are situationally clueless and completely incapable of putting a team away. You hand them a lead and they treat it like it's radioactive. And the pitching, every big moment, they give it right back. Every time. Like they're allergic to shutting the door. And the offense, they'll score, but only in 1 inning. It's like a toddler eating dinner. All the runs at once and then nothing for the rest of the night. This isn't bad luck. This isn't just one game. It's not early anymore. This is a pattern. A team that gets a lead, immediately panics, gives it back, and then dies quietly at the end, over and over and over again. And the worst part, you expect it now. 4-0 doesn't feel safe. It feels like a setup to a punchline. And you, the Red Sox fan, you are the punchline. So yeah, the Padres take it. Red Sox blow it. Yet again. Another day or another night of watching a team that just has enough talent to give you hope and just enough dysfunction to rip it away in the most frustrating way possible. I've said enough. It's time for the word of the day.
And now it's time for Nick Face's Word of the Day!
Coming at you with pure facts right now. The word of today is worst. Worst meaning you are the worst team in Major League Baseball through 9 games. You are 2-7. That is the pits of Major League Baseball. Let that sink in for all of you optimists out there. Oh, it's early. It's only a week. The weather hasn't turned 70 yet. Boo-hoo. This team sucks. Flat out sucks. There's nothing to look forward to right now. There isn't anything that I'm going to run to my television screen or go to Fenway Park that I want to see. This team,
let that sink in. Is that what you said?
Let it sink in. Yeah. That sink is you can leave the water running because that's how bad this team is. Flush it right down the drain. I want to be hopeful on something, but much like I've said, and we all have said this before, even if the pitching is half decent, you have to hit a baseball, and you can't do that. The game should have been over after the 8th inning, by the way, today, because when Mason Miller came in, I ran for the hills. I knew 3 strikes, you're out of here with Story, Duran, and Contreras. You didn't even need to stomach that, folks. You didn't even need to have a glimmer of hope if there was a chance in the world that that team was going to come back from that. You could have had another Easter buffet special dinner, and you still wouldn't have to suffer through any of that right there. That bad. To make matters even funnier at Fenway Park, for the first time this season, we heard the Boo Birds come out loud and clear. And sometimes you haven't heard that at Fenway Park because sometimes the Pink Hats or your travelers or your, oh, look at this museum. Isn't this great? The theater production's wonderful. I'd love to talk about this. You heard Sell the Team today, very loud and clear, right on the DEI network, which I'm going to nickname them. I'm not going to call them by their name anymore. They are the DEI network. And if you want to come at me for it, go right ahead. Sell the team. Sell the team. And isn't that funny that this is something that we have talked about ad nauseum here on this pod? We have talked about it repeatedly, that in at least my opinion, I'm just going to speak for myself because I think others may have a different take. Who knows? Yes, the only way out of this mess is if John Henry sells this team, because then it is a restart. It is a no more Breslow, no more Cora, no more Sam Kennedy's. It's a fresh start. We need to get rid of this right now. Thank you very much for the 4, but you don't care anymore. You don't. They got so lucky in 2018 with that super team, and they really got lucky in 2013 because they really didn't have any business winning that World Series either. That team got so lucky, had Boston all behind it. You really won 2 World Series with this ownership group, at least from their efforts, 2004 and 2007. The other ones, 2013, I'm going to say pipe dream, 2018, an anomaly, meaning that you had a super team. Thank you, Dave Dombrowski. You bought, you got. That's a nice little phrase. You bought, you got. Isn't that cool?
Nick, if you want to say something even deeper, you could even argue that they inherited a lot of guys from that 04 team too.
That's a great point, Jim. I was going to get to that too. You got a lot of players from the Dan Duquette era. You got a lot of players from Duquette's drafting. You did, from him getting. I think it was John Lester was a part of Duquette and others. So yeah, I mean, you inherited it. I mean, 4 championships. I'm not going to complain. I'm thrilled. Thank you very much for it. But 2018, that's 8 years ago. It's gone. It's going to almost be 10 years. I'm sorry. When we just went through that 2000s to 2020 era, I can't sit here and say it's acceptable anymore. The product on the field sucks. Your owner is checked out. He hasn't spoken since 2020 about the team. He hasn't. His little puppet masters have. Little weasel boy Kennedy. And go Red Sox. Go Red Sox. Support my foundation. Tom Werner. That's what you get. Where do we go from here? Well, if you want to kick in the balls, you're going to get the Milwaukee Brewers this upcoming week. You're probably going to get a nice little sweepage, but we'll talk about that later. My word of the day again, worst. You are the worst team in baseball right now. Round of applause. Red Sox ownership. You rock. Woo.
Round of applause. Yeah, totally agree with just about every single thing you said. Tonight's word of the day is brought to you by Fenway Park's blown lead bleachers. Come watch a 4-run lead disappear in real time. Comes with a free stress ball, 2 beers, and a complimentary apology from the bullpen that expires after the 5th inning. And now I want to turn it over to the Martinello Minute and John Martinello.
And now the part they don't want said out loud. No spreadsheets or corporate spin. Just the truth. Raw and impatient. This is the Martinello Minute.
I mean, where do we even start today? I'm sitting here annoyed, frustrated. As I've said 1,000 times, I'm deflated watching this team. And I think all we've had enough of the same story now for the past 5 years. It's been the same story year in, year out. They start the season slow. They pick it up around the trade deadline, going into the All-Star break. They have a bad trade deadline. They don't address any of the real pieces that need to get brought into the team. And then they dwindle out in September. They made the playoffs last year, and that lasted 72 hours. Friday night, the Sox finally snapped the 5-game losing streak. I came on here saying that we were about to turn a corner. Hand up. I was completely wrong. They did a 180 actually, and we're right back to square one. A team that's pressing, and the team that has no leader, and the most mature player in the clubhouse is 21 years old. Every single time this team has thrown a punch in a game, the opponent has come back immediately punching. They come back punching, and they've been punching us back twice as hard and 6 times over. You're 2-7. It's the worst start since 2019 and 1945 before then. And mind you, that 1945 team, half of the roster was overseas fighting on the beaches of Normandy. But I love this team. I'm gonna follow them through the depths of hell. We're there right now. I watch every game. I'll watch every post-game show. I'll watch every pre-game show. I'll subscribe to John Henry's TV network. I get told things are getting better, but we've been living in the Groundhog Day movie for the last 5 years. The fans today were chanting, "Sell the team," and John Henry laughs back in our faces and says, "Here's some lobster poutine." Nick, your word was worst, but I've got a first. We're the first team to 7 losses.
And no, we're not going worst to first.
No.
Not in the same season anyway.
Not unless we're Dr. Seuss.
Well,
I try to get a little bit of that in there. I rehearsed that last line.
The Martinello Minute is sponsored by the San Diego Padres Thank You program, because every time the Red Sox take the lead, they immediately give it back with interest. Padre fans, you're welcome. And now I want to turn it over to Thayer with the third strike.
And now, it's time for the third strike with Thayer.
All offseason, we talked about needing power bats and getting a second pitcher. No one mentioned anything about the bullpen. They thought it was going to be fantastic. If you look at what we had to sit through the last 2 days, the bullpen killed us in both games. Greg Weissert, I joked about it on Friday. When he doesn't give up a bomb, we're okay. He's coming to 4 games. He's given up 3 bombs. They've lost all 3 games. The bullpen is atrocious right now. Chapman is going to take a little while to get going. He cost us the other day, especially without Whitlock around. They're working at a disadvantage. You've had your starting pitchers give you 4 innings the last 2 games. That's completely unacceptable. They talked about making this a pitching and defense kind of team. The defense has been very sketchy. The pitching hasn't been very good. Now, what bothers me is they talk about having pitching depth. Ranger Suárez was clearly not ready to go. Clearly for the start of the season. Yet, he really hasn't missed a start. This start was better than his previous start. I'll give him that. He pitched well for the first 3 innings, but that is what we would be looking at with him in around the middle of spring training as they're building up what he needs to do. He's not ready. He gave you 3 good innings, then he fell off the cliff. Faltered in the 4th inning. That's on management. That's on ownership, providing an understanding of what these guys are capable of doing. They shouldn't have him pitching in the major leagues because all it's going to do is continue to blow out your already depleted and crappy bullpen, which we saw today. The poor kid had to be left in there for an extra inning. You know, I probably wouldn't have done it myself, but the last 3 or 4 games, you've been using your entire bullpen. And really, to be honest, I think this kid's better than Zach Kelly on fresh. So it's hard to really get on Cora for that one. But this is really the issue that we have. This bullpen is atrocious right now, especially without Whitlock and that underbelly. I'll give you Slayton, Whitlock, and Chapman are going to be fine when we have a lead, but very seldomly do we have a lead. And we have to understand, Jim, going back to your monologue, you have to have a sit-down inning and a shut-down inning with your pitching staff after you score. You cannot score 4 runs and then give up 3. You can't tie the game, make it 6-6, and then just put a I won't say it, a fastball right down the middle that just gets obliterated. It's just, you can't do that. You can't make those mistakes. And the other aspect of it is every mistake the Red Sox pitchers are making are leaving the ballpark because other teams have people who are capable of hitting home runs. We struggle to do that. We had to score 6 runs. They've scored 6 and 5 runs this series. That's an improvement over what we were seeing before, but they have to do it with multiple hits. They have to grind it out. They have to do things. And unfortunately, when you're doing that, especially with a team of, shall we say it, incompetent ball players, you run into the risk of what you saw today. Now, granted, they probably would have thrown the guy out of third base, but Rafaela just ran right into the out to end the inning, and it causes, more opportunities for our players to make mistakes. And that's what's costing us.
Yeah, stupidity on the base pass, stupidity on defense. And a lot of this I still blame Cora. He's just too much with Weissert, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what I don't know if he just doesn't trust anybody else or he just wants those guys, with leads. I don't know what it is, but something's got to be done quickly. Otherwise, we're circling the drain. That said, the third strike with Thayer is sponsored by the Red Sox 9th inning approach. 3 swings, 3 misses, and just enough time to beat traffic out of Fenway. I want to start with our talking points today. First one I'm going to call the 4-0 lie. So for about 20 minutes, the Red Sox looked like a competent baseball team. A 4-run explosion in the 3rd inning, highlighted by Jarren Duran's 2-run double. Willie Abreu had an RBI triple, and Yoshida added on, gave Fenway the dangerous feeling, which was hope. But like every bad habit this team has, it didn't last. What looked like a statement inning quickly turned into a setup for collapse as the offense disappeared immediately after building a lead. So you go up 4-0 at home and completely shut down offensively the rest of the game. Do you view this lineup as streaky and dangerous or just broken? John, I'll start with you.
I think at times, as we get, along throughout the year, I think streaky will be a more accurate way to represent the Red Sox lineup. But right now, it's just completely broken. You can't, you can't say that it's inconsistent because we haven't seen, outside of one inning today, them put up a crooked number through 9 games now. So they had nothing to show. Life, especially late in games, it's always been, as we saw the last 2 days, 8th inning, 9th inning, strikeout, weak ground ball. Mason Miller comes in, 9 to 12 pitches, like zero life, zero fight whatsoever. So how I view this team right now, it's just broken, and I'll tip my cap to Breslow. He said that we're a good team that's not playing well. I can't believe him anymore. I don't think this team's very good, but
Anymore.
at least he could Breslow could admit that we're not playing well. And he'll go live in his fantasy lands that this team is good. Hopefully we see a stretch fairly soon that shows that they can be good. But they're just broken right now, and I think even once all the cylinders start firing, especially from the pitching side of things, it's going to still be a very streaky offense that we cannot rely on.
I don't like Breslow's comment saying that this team is good. How do you know it's good? What indication do you have that this team is good? I mean, they're not playing good baseball. We can all agree on that. But it doesn't necessarily mean the team is good.
That's their MO, Jim. They have to lie to the fan base to make
They
you
have
buy
to
in.
lie to the fan base. That's exactly what they have to do because they have nothing else to go with right now because they're grasping at straws. Thayer,
Did you listen? Before you go to Thayer, I have one important thing I want to say.
Sure.
Did you hear any of the interviews with Tom Werner and, well, I guess it would tie into Breslow, where they kept reiterating the point of we have done this in our history. We have won this many games. It's the resume. History. It's the resume, continuous nonsense spewed out of their mouth to remind us. I don't need to be reminded. I don't.
They live in the past, and they're living with the past with their personnel too. You've got guys in this on personnel that have been there since 2004. Okay.
Our media could be a lot better, though, in handling it because they sit there like they're little puppy dogs. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's wonderful. Kiss my ass. No. Say, well, this season is not going great. Last season had too many ups and downs. But none of these buffoons who are broadcasting here or media reporters call it out. And you people need to do it. You Gordos, you Bradfords, you people out there need to do your job better. You really do.
Nick, they're not going to do that because they're afraid of getting blackballed. No one has any balls here anymore. I mean, I love Chris Cotillo. He's a great guy. He follows me. I follow him. But again, they're limited because no one's going to stick their neck out for this team because they're going to get blackballed. Just moving right along just for time. So, Thayer, your thoughts on the lineup? Again, streaky but dangerous or fundamentally broken? Your thoughts?
Neither. What we're dealing with is a team kind of like the Tampa Bay Rays used to have, where they are going to rely on the opposition to make mistakes, and that's how they're going to sort of put things together. The problem is this team doesn't have an offensive approach. We actually walked 4 times today for the first time. The last couple have been, one walk a game. They're not capable of hitting for power. So the problem is they've created an analytical lineup of the true outcomes, a walk, a strikeout, or a home run. They don't walk and they can't hit home runs, which leaves you only one other true outcome is strikeouts. And that's what we see. They're all trying to do way too much. The one opportunity they had today to move a runner over with a productive out was a mistake because Story was trying to pull. He's now back into that pull happy consciousness that he was in, and he was so far out in front of an 87-mile-an-hour pitch that he cupped it and just happened to squib it to first base to be a productive out, but it was a total mistake. That's the issue with this team. We talked about it the other day. 1 through 9, for the most part, they have the same hitters with the same approach. There is no sort of nuance to their batting order where one guy's capable of doing this, another guy's capable of doing that. They're all struggling in the same aspect, and that's the problem. I don't see them really becoming ultra dangerous. They're going to have to sit to a position where if they get a couple walks, they can do something. If they get the other team to make an error, but it's going to be very difficult for them to be consistent this year.
Really would be an interesting lineup right now if you had Anthony, Bregman, and Devers 1, 2, and 3. Nick, what is your thoughts? Fundamentally broken or streaky but dangerous?
Neither. This lineup's crap. We've known about this. I don't see them even having a streak in them. The only streak that they've got in them is a strikeout streak. That's it. There's no thump. There's no protection. I feel bad for Wilyer Abreu currently right now, who's trying to handle the entire lineup all by himself, hitting in the 5th spot. Why is he hitting 5th? I have no idea, but that's where he is, and he's at least producing. That's one player. Outside of that, you got nothing. You got nothing. I'll maybe give you Rafaela's doing okay, but I don't want Rafaela higher than 8 or 9. I don't. That's who he is. Remember when we used to finesse and fiddle with the lineup with Jackie Bradley? Whenever we hit him higher, forget it. Done. Back to old ways. I'm not doing that with Rafaela. Stay low. That's what we have to do on that. And then the other thing I wanted to just mention quick regarding the lineup when we had a 4-0 lead. Did you guys happen to see the numbers for Ranger Suárez and what he's done from the WBC, spring training, and the regular season? So spring training in 3 starts, 9 innings, 14 hits, 11 ERA. World Baseball Classic, 2 starts, 4 2/3, 6 hits, 11.57 ERA. That's really good. Definitely. A 2.414 whip. Regular season so far. 8.8 in the 3rd innings, 13 hits, an 8.64 ERA with a 1.92 whip. Woo-hoo-hoo! That's your desperation signing after Alex Bregman stuck his finger in your face and said, fuck you.
You know, on the post-game show, I think I caught part of it. Papelbon was saying that he doesn't believe that Ranger Suárez, with this new ABS system, his approach, and I was talking to John before we all got on tonight, his approach doesn't work with this ABS system now. John, I'll start with you just because you and I were discussing it. Just walk me through what your thoughts are with that.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a guy his whole career that doesn't have the velocity to blow a fastball by you. So he relies on working the corners, expanding the strike zone, and getting help from the umpire in doing so. So when you introduce this ABS system that eliminates, or for the most part eliminates, those borderline pitches that guys have gotten throughout their careers, a couple inches off the plate. Now with the ABS, these umpires are hesitant to, that borderline pitch. They're calling them balls a lot more now than they have before. And it's very evident that Ranger feels, or he seems uncomfortable on the mound. And, it's just because he doesn't have that ability to get away with the pitch early in the count and then be able to rely on, a batter having to keep in the back of his head that now I have to go and get that. So the zone's shrunk on him. As I said, he doesn't have that, blow away velocity to, keep in his back pocket when he needs to, when he would need to take it out like a Garrett Crochet does. And he struggled with it. So, he's tied up for 5 years and $120 million or whatever it was. And he's really going to have to figure out rather quickly how to adapt to the new way that this game's going to be played from a pitching standpoint.
If you had a limit on the ABS challenge calls, you might be able to convince me and say, well, you get one or two, maybe you earn a third one, something like that. You could probably make do. But I mean, there's an opportunity for players to just keep going pitch after pitch after pitch. And of course, if his stuff is outside and it's called a strike, they can continue to win those challenges and continue to maintain those challenges. So, I mean, this could just be a really bad situation for a guy like Suarez. Thayer, your thoughts on ABS and Suarez?
I don't think it's going to have as much of an impact as we all think it will, especially watching other clubs and other ways they're playing it. So many of these teams are just waiting to call their balls and strikes. They're not going to waste them. It's not as easy as we think it is as an offensive player to really be totally in control of the zone. When Suarez is going well, it's not like he's working 2 to 3 inches off the plate. He's working just off the plate, if that. And most importantly, when he's going, it's not that he's getting called strike threes. His ball is moving and he's getting bad swings and misses. And he's getting people to put the ball in play awkwardly. So it's not so much that he'll just be living outside the zone, kind of Daisuke Matsuzaka style, and everyone's calling balls on him. He's really, when he's going, he works within the zone and becomes effective outside the zone. He works out of it when he has 2 strikes. And that's where his advantage comes in, not really for strikeouts, but to get poor contact and get swings and misses.
Nick, your thoughts on Suarez and the ABS system question?
I really wish when we first did our show, when we were all hyped up about, we got this guy that came from the Phillies. Maybe we got one from Dombrowski. I wish I could turn that back and just tell you that I was concerned at the beginning instead of sunshines and rainbows for everybody from being happy that we signed a player at that time. I wish I called it out, and I wish I said he's a nibbler. He's somebody that has to be on to be good and to win a game. And if he's not, it's going to be a shaky outing. And so far, that's exactly how I felt when we signed Ranger Suárez. I also think that I don't want to call him lazy because that's mean. I don't want to be mean. I don't think he's always checked into a game. I think that he sometimes is just out there and isn't fully in the zone, meaning that he is going to be a competitor, that he's going to pitch his best, that he's going to work his butt off to help his team.
You think it's a preparation thing?
I think it has something to do with preparation, but that can also go back to our coaching staff as well, to get him into shape, to motivate him, to get him in his best routine that he could be on the mound. So, yes, it comes down to the player's ability, number one, but it also has to stem from our coaching staff, who is not good. That is another major problem with this team. I feel like we as fans or we as podcasters or people in the media, we see these things when the coaches should be the ones that are addressing these things and making adjustments and having these players pull them aside, show them video, tell them that they're like Story, they're pulling all their pitches, or Suarez, hey, don't let the ABS system impact you too much. Make sure you hit your zones. And that means a one-on-one with Nevarez or Connor Wong, whoever's catching on that night, to make sure people are on the same page. Ranger Suárez has not been on the same page ever since he's been here in Boston. I have not been impressed, and this could be another one of those deals and contracts that goes down in history as a bad one. And we're already 2 starts in. Please don't make it go bad. Make it get better.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion is that, Breslow's MO has been about getting power guys, Andrew Bailey power guys. So, you really kind of look at this situation with his signing and you kind of scratch your head a little bit because he's completely the anti-power pitcher. So, obviously it remains to be seen moving forward if it continues to improve. To Thayer's point, he's still on spring training mode, so to speak. And, people are going to turn around and say he'll build up arm strength and we'll get him good by the end of May, June. The only issue is that are you going to be so far behind in the standings that you're just never going to be able to get out of it? And that's the problem, the lack of preparation. And, some people like me, want to blame the WBC. Others don't. I still do. And, your number one is supposed to be for the team that's paying your salary. So moving right along, next topic I want to talk about is Masataka Yoshida. I'm calling him the tease. Yoshida quietly had one of the biggest nights offensively, an RBI double early and a clutch 2-run double in the 7th to tie the game. On paper, that's exactly what you want from a middle-of-the-order bat, quote, air quotes. But even his biggest moment felt hollow because it just set up the next collapse. He did his job. The rest of the team didn't. My question is, Yoshida came through in these big spots. Are we at the point 9 games into the season where we need to play him every day because nothing else is working? Thayer, I'll start with you.
It's hard to speak negatively about him, to be perfectly honest, given what the rest of this offense is looking like. I know we do have, our own little issues and sort of PTSD with what he has been since he's come here from Japan a couple of years ago. But maybe there is something to his health in his shoulders. We saw it down the stretch last year. He was capable of putting the bat on the ball and being relatively productive. Today he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Maybe he is a professional hitter. Maybe he's a guy that he's not going to be the home run hitter that we need him to be, but perhaps he's a guy that's actually going to be able to put the ball in play and maybe move station to station and do a little something beyond just totally striking out. So I'm not going to speak negatively of him because even right now, he's far more productive than Anthony has been. And I know Anthony will get better, but Masataka is doing what he's supposed to be doing right now. I struggle with playing him in left field, but again, it all really comes back to the roster construction. And they've messed up the bullpen. They didn't get the power bats. They kept all of the left-handed hitting outfielders who are not really good outfielders. So we have to deal with what we got to deal with. And to be perfectly honest, this guy is at least producing.
Well, the one thing that you can count on with him is contact. I mean, his biggest gripe is that he grounds out the second base, hence season 2's opening song. But, for a team that doesn't have the power and needs contact hitting, he's the one guy that you can almost, I don't want to say rely on in this lineup to actually make contact when you need it. But, you did see that in the postseason. When you needed contact, he was getting it. And that's the problem because this team doesn't have the identity of being a powerhouse offense. And that's the reason why you look at guys like Caleb Durbin and you expect more out of him, more contact, and you hope that you start doing more station to station because that's how you're going to score these runs like today. You're not going to get the 3-run home run, and you need to be able to score these runs. You need to be able to have contact, move runners over, play some small ball like Cora did in game 1. And that's where this team is lacking. John, you're up. What are your thoughts on Yoshida? Should he be playing every day at this point?
At this current state in time, yeah, honestly, the guy's walking in 40% of his at bats. So, if it's not going to be contacts, like the dude's getting on base and he doesn't strike out. We've seen it throughout his entire tenure with the Red Sox. Will he ground out to second base when he does make contact? Yes, but he doesn't strike out. And for a team that strikes out left and right, they struck out 10 times again today. And I believe that's it's either 5 or 6 out of the first 9 games of the season. They've struck out 10 or more times. You need that bat in your lineup. That's at least just going to put the ball on the ground, whether that's to second base or not. Just get the ball in the play and make the defense make a play to get you out. Obviously he's not going to supply any of the power that this team needs, but again, just purely his ability to get on base and his ability to not walk back to the dugout after looking at a fastball down the middle, that for what this team needs right now, which is guys getting on base, he's the gold standard at this point in time.
Yeah. The thing with him is that, if he could find those holes down the first base line, he can use the whole field. We've seen it. So, but right now, I mean, I'm pro Yoshida. I want him in that lineup because he's probably the only guy that I trust right now that's going to make contact in a big spot. Nick, your thoughts?
Yoshida's going to play. He's going to play. Pains me to have to say it. That's the first time I've said Yoshida instead of Yoshida all season, but we're past that point, I think. I think you're going to have to get uncomfortable with inserting him into the lineup. I keep going back and forth. Do I like Roman Anthony or do I like Yoshida in left field right now? And truthfully, right now, I think it's a coin flip. I think you rotate the two of them in left between DH and left. Duran is my center fielder. Wilyer Abreu is my right fielder. Rafaela, you're moving to second base. Marcelo Meyer, you're my shortstop. Caleb Durbin and Trevor Story, you better figure it out because either between Marcelo Meyer or Caleb Durbin or Trevor Story, one of those guys is going to be hitting the pine because they ain't cutting it. So that's what you're going to have to do. Do I like it? No, but you have to play the hot hand. I'm sick of it. The veteran type like Trevor Story. Oh, he's been around the league. Oh, he's good. Oh, we're going to keep him in the 2 spot. We're just going to keep riding it out. No, we're not going to keep riding it out. I'm not going to sit here and accept it anymore. The lineup I just gave you is what I would ride. If you don't like it, hey, that's your opinion. But I'm telling you right now, that's my lineup that I'm going to put out to try and win a baseball game. Sorry to be so cut and dry, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah, last topic before we go to probables and comments. Last thing that I'm going to talk about is Ceddanne Rafaela today. Rafaela was brought in for one reason, impact the game with his speed, and he did, just not in a way that helps you win. In the 7th, right after Yoshida ties it 6-6, the Red Sox had a chance to keep the inning alive and build some momentum. Instead, Rafaela gets thrown out at third on a fielder's choice, ending the inning immediately. And here's the worst part. There already was 2 outs, but if the throw goes to first, the inning is over anyway. So what exactly is the upside? There isn't one. That's not aggressive baseball. It's a complete lack of situational awareness. You risk everything for literally 0 gain. I'd like to get your opinions on that play. Again, just to remind everybody, a throw to first, it's the last out anyway, but you can't get caught, in no man's land between second and third. Nick, I'll start with you.
It's baseball awareness again. Rafaela did not have a very good mental weekend between lapses in center field. There was a couple balls that he should have absolutely caught. He had terrible routes on them. And now getting another mental mistake on the bases. This is who they are. This is what they do. It happens on a nightly, daily basis. Why they don't have this awareness and IQ still to this point, it's sad. It's sad because I grew up from my baseball coach, and then through playing. John, you probably did the same with whoever brought you up from coaching into playing. If we made a mistake, we owned it, and we would have a punishment of sorts. Our punishment, if we did it, was you have foul poles. You get picked off, you do something stupid, you're going to be going back and forth. That, within my mind, told me, okay, my coach is mad at me. I made a mistake. I own it, and I'm not going to make that same mistake again. It's called the mental game. And I wish my baseball coach, Coach Moscarello, was the coach of the Red Sox right now, because it would be a totally different team. I think some of these guys may cry, and he's not an evil man by any ways. He's a wonderful man. Massachusetts Baseball Hall of Fame. Huge resume if you haven't looked him up, Pete Moscarello. But that's who I got. That's who I learned from. That's my mentor. That's the person that taught me how to play the game the right way. and why this isn't adapted and brought up to the big league level, it blows my mind. Every time I think about it, I go, oh, Coach Moss would have had me at that foul pole, or we would have been throwing up until we made and didn't make that same mistake again. But they keep doing it time and time and time again. It is unbelievable. But this is who they are. This is what we get. This is what you got to roll with.
Nick, you brought up a good point about his awareness, and even in the outfield, with his movements towards the ball. He had another one today that just went over his head. Now, whether if he actually, caught the ball, in his sights earlier and was able to track it better, I don't know. But I'm starting to wonder, especially with the way Durbin has been struggling, if there might be some sense to putting him at second base, which would then allow you to have Duran in center, you'd have Anthony in left, and then that opens up for Yoshida to be your full-time DH. I don't know, but right now he hasn't looked fabulous in center field. That's the one thing I will say. Thayer, your thoughts on today's gaffe with Rafaela?
He's absolutely struggling mentally. He's not where he has been in the past. Young player. I know he's not a rookie, but he's still a young guy. It's, there's two choices. You be patient and you'll trust in his talent, or you don't be patient and you just sort of sit the guy. I don't think it benefits the team at all to sit him. I think that they're much better having him engaged in playing. Second base, I struggle with. I know he's a gifted and talented guy, but other than for Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani, baseball is hard. And to play center field and then to shortstop and then go back to center field and to come in and play second base and to do all these things, it's not an easy thing to do, especially at the level that they're playing at. They are playing with the greatest players in the world. And you have to be comfortable. You have to be in a situation where you understand and are confident in it. And baseball is so mental that no matter how gifted physically you are, if you are not engaged upstairs, it's 10 times harder to play. So I think really they just have to work with them, or if that's what you guys want, just axe them, cut them, and hey, let's see if Duran can actually do any better. But I know a couple of years ago we were pretty upset with the way Duran was playing center field and the way he just let balls go flying over his head and then pouted after him as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying. I think my point was just because of the logjam and the fact that it appears that Yoshida needs to start playing. And, are you going to put him in left field every night? And if you're not going to do that, this may be the only way since Durbin is struggling. But it's tough. It's definitely tough because then, Durbin's going to lose confidence. John, your thoughts on Rafaela's incident today?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't able to watch the second half of this game, so I didn't see the Rafaela play. But when as a runner on second base and there's no force play on, there's nobody behind you at first, you learn from a very young age the fundamentals. If the ball's hit right at you, you go back to second base. If that ball's hit to your right, you go back to second base. If that ball's hit to your left, go ahead and go to third. If the ball's hit weakly, pulls the third baseman in, go ahead to third base. So, I didn't see the play. I'm going to assume that it was probably right to Bogarts at shortstop, and they just gunned him down at third.
It was to the third baseman. It was a chopper. Machado fielded the ball pretty much even with the bag, but he came in and had to get it on a short hop. So it was one of those things where you either have to freeze or you keep going. His problem was was going, and Machado made the play, and he was right there. So really, you have to realize that's one you just have to wait on. But again, it was a mistake.
Yeah, and again, as I said on the last show, you can't go a Red Sox game without watching a dumb happen. So I got to miss the one today, so that's at least I could go to bed with a smile on my face about that. But as far as the fielding goes with Rafaela, I'm not concerned whatsoever about his ability out there. He should have won the Platinum Glove last year if it wasn't for that award being a popularity contest. So, you know, him in the outfield, he made a mistake on a Friday, with the sun out there, and then, you know, yesterday maybe he misread that line drive from Tatis. I'm not completely sure, but you know, once we get to September, he's gonna have, you know, he's gonna be in the finalist for center field Gold Glove. He's gonna have all the advanced metrics that, you know, shout out that he's a top 2, top 3 center fielder in the league. So I'm not concerned about it. But you know, on the base paths, at least that's Cora's and the rest of the guys in the dugouts job to handle. And, you know, again, when you're a team that relies on pitching and defense, when you're not pitching well and your defense also isn't holding up its side of the bargain, you can't make these mistakes on the base path. So, you know, long story short, like the stupid shit that we keep seeing day in and day out, it's got to stop.
Yeah, exactly. Just going through a few quick comments here. Pat's Dynasty, I hate this team. It's been frustrating. There's no doubt about it. Fire Breslow and fire Henry into the sun. The problem with Breslow is that what do you do from here? I mean, he was the 18th. I'm joking. He was like 13th or 14th guy.
You can employ me.
You know, I mean, it's like you're just there. It's going to be a shit show again, and I don't think it's going to change. Continuing on, Jules says Rafaela will never trade him. You know, the problem is they look at him as a right-handed, you know, platinum glove type guy, and because he's right-handed, he's not going to be moved. I think if he was left-handed, it'd be a bigger chance. But Eric says the offense wasn't an issue today. 6 runs. Yeah, they scored 6 runs, but they can't hold it. So it's like when they get some runs, the bullpen and the pitching goes bad, and then when they get good pitching, they can't hit. So, you know, they can't lose games when they're scoring 6 runs because they've got the pitching, you would think on paper, to avoid losing a game that they score 6 runs in, but it's just not happening. Let's go Padres. It's very funny. Mick says, Breslow on the telecast today made me ill. He's clueless. Some people aren't good at their jobs, even though they have a job. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't their first choice. That's the long and short of it. And you know, I think we might look back at this in time and think that Chaim Bloom was probably even better than he was. P. Fatsy should be fired. I still don't know what he does here because whatever he does, he doesn't do well. But
that's 6 years in.
Yeah, you know, and you've been having bad luck for 6 years. Cora does have faith in Weiser because of what he has been able to do in the past, plus the other guys that he has, like Kelly, are not any better. The issue is the two of them. I'm not a Weissert fan. I'm not a Kelly fan. I think he could find and do better. They're just not consistent enough. That's the problem. The stuff is there, but they're just not consistent enough.
Whitlock also not being there this weekend hurt this bullpen exponentially. Yeah. Let's make sure. I understand he had the birth of his child. That's priority number 1. I'm not saying that he should have stayed here to have his wife go give birth without the father being there, but it hurt the team. That's the only thing I'm saying on it. I'm all about family. I get it. Baseball should be secondary, but overall, it hurt this team.
Brent says if Bregman never left, Ranger would not be on this team. Oh, that's absolutely right. I mean, it was a reaction signing, but that's what this team does. You know, it's the same thing with the Rafael Devers contract because they were destroyed by the fans at winter weekend, and they wound up signing him to an extensive deal because they are a reactionary club. They can't tolerate the poor PR, which makes me laugh because they get poor PR all the time with
especially today.
Yeah, with the way that they're running the organization. Jules says that Massa plays left field better than Roman. You know, for all the crap we give him, he's not the worst left fielder in the world. But I mean, I just don't. I really have a big concern about Roman's arm. I know John says he can fix it.
But that's the point.
Give me 45 minutes.
Jules. I think that's the point that Jules was trying to make here is that We've always been concerned with Masataka Yoshida's arm. And now we're concerned on Roman Anthony's arm. So
I'm
now,
concerned with,
like
I'm
I told
concerned
you,
with Massa's glove. I can't. Every single time the ball goes to left field, I want to shut my eyes.
I'm concerned that the
and turn off
lights and
Oh my
the
God.
scoreboard are never going to be the same. So I've never seen anything like that before, and there's no way I trust him to make a play in left field.
Jules also says Meyer over Story easy because of the D. You know, Story has been an absolute train wreck so far this season. Both sides of the diamond. I mean, it's been bad. His arm is bad. His defense is bad. He can't hit. He needs to be moved to second base, and Mayer needs to be the shortstop.
And that's not going to happen until this team or until the front office or Cora believes that Meyer can stay on the field. It's just not going to happen, and it sucks because if in a perfect world, if everybody was healthy all the time, Meyer would have been the opening day shortstop.
maybe Story will get hurt again. Maybe. Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, it's probably
I'm such an evil bunny.
Matt says, Jim, I can't do this anymore. We're with you, my friend. Why put Cora? Why Cora put Weissert in is beyond me. It's got to be a trust thing. I just don't have another answer for you. But he has not been effective at all, and quite frankly, I just don't want to see him, pitch another game. I don't trust the guy at all. I don't know what there is. And to Nick's point, this is a classic game that you would have saw. Garrett Whitlock in because they needed to actually win this game. They needed to take 2 out of 3, and it just didn't happen. Finishing off on the upcoming series with Milwaukee. So tomorrow, April 6th, Milwaukee Brewers come into town. We have a 6:45 start. Brian Bayo against Brandon Woodruff. Tuesday is also a 6:45 start. Will be Garrett Crochet against Jacob Mizorowski. And then Wednesday is a 1:35 start, another getaway game.
Wednesday games.
It's going to be Sonny Gray. And from what I see here, Milwaukee hasn't announced a starter for that game yet. But Nick, I'll start with you. 3-game series for Milwaukee. I think I know where your thoughts are for this one, but what are what's your projections or predictions for this game?
Well, we're 2-7 now, correct?
Correct.
You will be 2-10 by Wednesday.
Yeah, I think they're going to get swept too. Thayer, your thoughts on
complete sweepage?
Your thoughts on
1-2. I think they get the Crochet game.
And John, what do you think for this series?
I got the Sox. I got the Sox taking 2 out of 3 in this one. The first,
you're a better man than us.
I think they lose tomorrow. I think Brandon Woodruff shoves it up their ass. But Crochet's not going to lose 2 starts in a row. So Tuesday's game against Mizorowski. I don't buy the hype on Mizorowski. I know he throws a hard fastball with a hard slider, but he's inconsistent in the strike zone. And if there's one thing that the Red Sox can do and what they preach every day at Driveline is to hit fastball. So I'll take that. And then the third game, if Chad Patrick shoves it up your ass, these guys, I can't physically, biologically say that the Red Sox are going to lose a game in which Chad Patrick is pitching against them in.
Well, I mean, we could have said the same thing against Walker Buehler today, my friend.
I'm going with it.
They didn't lose to Walker Buehler.
That's true.
So I'm hesitant. I think it's going to be a sweep, but I think if they're going to win one, it would be the Crochet game. But that's going to have to be a game that he absolutely dazzles in. If he's given up 2 or 3 runs in that game, they are not going to win the game. He needs to give up 1 or 0 runs. I have no faith that there's going to be enough offense. It could be a 2-0 win, a 1-0 win, but if he's giving up 2 or 3 runs, they will be swept. So it's a hard team to have come in at this point of the season, especially with the way they've been playing. And for that amount, it doesn't get any easier. That said, I'm going to call it for tonight. I'd like to thank Nick, Thayer, and John for being on. Also, too, if you haven't been on our website yet, please go ahead and subscribe to our digital newsletter at redsoxdigest.com. That's Red
Don't
Sox
forget to start a game.
Oh, I'm getting to that. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And if you go there, we do have an article every day for the for the prior game, and also copies of the transcripts and these audios. We have both the live stream, and if you sign up, you get the audio sent right to your email inbox every day. Finishing off with today's star of the game, we have a little sweepstakes going. Every time that we are live on air, you'll see a graphic like this on my Twitter handle and for Red Sox Digest Twitter handle. And all you have to do is comment at the bottom before the game starts who you think the star of the game is going to be. And if you're right, you get a point. And whoever has the most points by the end of the season in October, you will win a $100 MLB gift card gift card. All you have to do is follow, comment, and win. Today's star of the game, I'm going to let Thayer have this one. Who's your star of the game?
I'm going to go with Mason Miller, pretty much because we get 2 stars of the game because he shut us down both Saturday and Sunday. So give it to Mason Miller.
So Mason Miller is your star of the game. I don't see a match on anyone on the Twitter handle. So unfortunately, we don't have a winner tonight. Nobody's getting any points, but we will be back with you. I believe, did we say Wednesday? Is that when we're going to be back on Wednesday?
Yep.
So, okay. So we will be back on Wednesday, and you'll see this graphic on our account, and definitely go ahead and sign up online and leave your comment on who you think is going to be the star of that game. That being said, we're going to wrap it up. Thank everybody for being on. Thank everybody for commenting and following us, and have a great night, everybody. We'll see you Wednesday.